Hey everyone, and thank you for taking the time to watch another one of my videos. I feel like I wouldn't be a YouTube woodworker without at least trying to make an epoxy rivet table. In all seriousness, I've been wanting to make one of these since I first got into woodworking in 2016. Before you go in the comments and say all the stuff that I did wrong, I know I did stuff wrong. I would definitely do a lot of things differently, but this is my first epoxy rivet table, and it's currently being used in my house, and it's not for a customer or anything like that. First up, I'm going to level both sides so that I know everything is flat. I severely underestimated the amount of dust that would come off in the leveling process. My shop was coated with fine particles. I'm so happy I wore a mask. Now that the slab is leveled, I need a box that I can use as the mold for when I pour the epoxy. There's a couple different materials you can use. I use 3/4 inch MDF. It's a hard, flat surface, perfect for this application. Be sure to wear a mask if you're going to cut this stuff. The glue that they use to bond this stuff together is toxic if it inhaled. To get the MDF ready for the mold, I have to wrap it in Tyvek tape. I'm not sure what the tape is made out of, but the epoxy does not stick to it. As an extra measure, you can use mold release, but I didn't see a need for it in this application. After I get all the tape on, it's time to put the box together. I take the nail gun and drive a couple nails every foot or so. Nails are preferred for this because if I tried to screw it together, I'd run the risk of splitting the MDF and then leaking epoxy and just a whole bunch of headaches that I wanted no part of. For some reason I was a straight dingus and didn't record myself sealing all the seams. I also forgot to record a couple other steps in this, and I'm sorry, I'll try harder. But I used a silicone so the epoxy wouldn't stick to it. I made sure I filled all the gaps so no precious, expensive epoxy comes out. Then I let that dry for 24 hours before I touched it. The next few steps are important, so please pay attention. Or don't. This will just be background noise. It's important to get all the pieces of bark off the slab. If there are any left, it's possible that it could separate from the epoxy and the whole world would collapse. No. But it would be bad. After we prevent the world from collapsing, we're just going to seal up the edges with clear epoxy. This helps prevent any color from the slab going through to your final color pour, which we're about to start mixing. This epoxy is really easy to use and measure. It's a 2-to-1 mixture for a total of 3 gallons. Be sure to wear safety glasses if you're going to try and do this. This kind of epoxy is thin as water, but it definitely doesn't feel like water if it gets in your eye. I'm not speaking from experience, please trust me on that. This is my first time building something like this, so I'm pretty much guessing on how much pigment to put in. From what I learned, you can add way more than you think. This is the moment of truth. Now we see if my mold is built to hold. As I was saying, you can see how thin the epoxy is. I'm making sure to get it in all the voids around the entire slab. It's got plenty of work time, so I don't have to worry about it drying up on me while I'm moving it around. Next, we introduce a little heat to this equation. This is probably the most satisfying part of the entire build, next to being done, of course. Since I was not a complete dingus, my mold held, and we get to peel this bad boy out and see how it looks. Back to the flattening jig once again. So much dust here. I've since upgraded the CNC machine to take slabs this big with dust collection. Cannot wait to use that in a future video. Right after I got done leveling, my phone died, and I did not realize, so it did not catch me sanding the ever-living hell out of this thing. I started at 120, moved up to 220, 400, 600, 800, then 1000. This was the most time-consuming step. I wanted to make sure I got every last spot as smooth as I possibly could here. Now I'm just going to trim it up a little bit to make sure all 4 sides are flat. Then I'm going to put a 1/8 round over to soften up the edge. It'll look real nice. Now I'm just going to absolutely cover it in tabletop epoxy. Not the kind you get from Home Depot, Lowe's, or any of the big box stores. That stuff's garbage. I use Total Boat Epoxy. In my opinion, they have the best clear resin. It's also self-leveling, so it'll get down in all the grooves and smooth out on its own. Last step is putting the legs on. It's pretty self-explanatory. I put tape on the drill so I can see exactly how deep I'm going. It's set to the depth of my threaded insert. Really here, you definitely do not want to drill through the tabletop. That would kill your project. I'm not sure how you would come back from that. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and most importantly, enjoy my content. Maybe check out woodworkkurt.com too if you got the time.